Fly Guy Kai,
Hmm.
or if you're of another culture, Kai. I don't know.
Kai? Who the
It's
Kai?
two eyes.
Who the is Kai? It's your boy, Fly Guy Kai, aka the captain, aka the main character. This is episode 30, Fly Guy Kai, uh, main character podcast. Okay. First off, episode 30 is a mini milestone because I didn't think that I would record myself in long form videos 30 times. It's a little different. Definitely a little different, but still good. Um, like what was the last video? Last video was probably like almost 2 weeks ago. I be trying to live a little bit. I'll be trying to gather up some stuff, but as more stuff comes out, I feel like I'm gonna have to start. I'm gonna have to start making episodes like at least I want to say like in increments of like 4 days. So 4 days in between each one, just because of how it comes out. Maybe it'll be shorter. Maybe it'll still stay the same length. Who knows? It depends on what I got to talk about. Uh, how do I get it started? I get it started with 3 health things, and then I get to moving on. Okay, that's spiritual health, that's physical health, and that's mental health. So spiritual health, believe in God, believe in Yahshua. Top 10 all day. Well, not top 10, but just 10 out of 10 all day. That's good. Physical health. I am entering. as I straighten myself out, I am entering the mid 30s section, okay? Mid 30s, about to be 35 this year. And what happens, unfortunately, your body starts doing random stuff. One of those random things is I just woke up one day, my shoulder started hurting. I hate it. 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 I hate that I have to talk about it. But I do. I'm keeping it a bean. Like, it's not even the fact of just hating to talk about it, but it's like when you hear people talk about it and they're just like, yo, in your 30s, weird shit is just gonna start hurting for no reason. You're like, yo, that's bullshit. Like, I work out every day. I don't do the most. I should be fine. And then finding out that maybe my bed, hear me out, maybe my bed is too soft, okay, for all facets. Maybe my bed is too soft. Maybe I sink in too much and it's just my shoulder just it got tired of it. And look where I'm at. Okay. Yo, and I still bench press, but what I've done now for all my exercises is I don't focus more so on lifting as much weight as I can. It's just lifting effectively. So I've cut all my like whatever my limit would be. Cause even like I don't want something to be just I just lifted once. Like if I like when I was setting a limit for my bench 370, but I can I can do 370 in a rep of about 8 possible. Well, no. I'm bullshit. I'm bullshit. Maybe like in a rep of like 5 or 6, and it's just like pushing like that. So what I've done is I've just cut it in half. Like, you know what? Let me just start with 180, leave it there, and the same with all my other weights. Like, I'm just gonna focus on the muscle building aspect. Like, not so much the how much weight can I lift. So I'm there physically. Uh, hmm. Mentally, I am better than I was for the majority of these past 2 weeks. Definitely better. And I had a great Sunday because today's Monday. I had a great Sunday thanks to my number one lady. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it on the forefront of the health, spiritual, physical, mental. Look at my knee popping out too. Like I gotta, I still like, I have my setup, like the computer and everything, over here. So periodically I look at it to see like how I am in general. But every now and again, look over here. Cool. Let me get back to here. So we got the health check out of the way. Now let's look at this big ass whiteboard that I got. And the first thing I got on the list, it should be anime stuff on the forefront, but I'm gonna get to that because I might just get some of this stuff out of order. But I bought Assassin's Creed Shadows. I got a good amount of hours in. I want to say like 10 hours in. 10 hours in would be a good amount for you to get like progression, different types of weapons, a feel of the story, a feel of the environment, some of the mechanics. I had finally got Yasuke after a long ass time because they give you like that. They give you that opportunity. They give you that opportunity to play him a little bit in the beginning, and then is straight Naoi, which is the female ninja slash the actual assassin for the Assassin's Creed story. It's a good game, but number one, if you know you're about to go to an area where the level is like significantly higher, that's for a lot of games. Like sometimes you can take the chance and go, and you be like, you know what, I'll thug it out. It'll be a long fight, but I'm gonna win. Nah, because what it is with playing Naoi and playing Yasuke is there's two different functions, and with Naoi, she's a ninja. All right, and ninjas. This ain't like Naruto. Like the ninjas aren't supposed to be like all your fights is like up front, up forward, with assassinations and no. Especially if you're fighting a group of people, it gets more and more difficult. Doing some of these straight up fights, like you have to fight these like key samurai in certain castles and temples and stuff like that, makes it very difficult. Like those straight up fights, sometimes they're drawn out, and sometimes they hit you like once or twice, you're cooked. So you're really supposed to lean into that assassin ninja aspect of strike when they least expect you, and if you're going to take on a harder threat, make sure there's no allies around them, so that way you have an easier time focusing on them. And the funny thing is with Yasuke, once you get him, like when you play him, he's not skilled in scaling buildings super fast. So you won't be able to do stuff like that. You won't be able to do a lot of stuff that Naoe gets to do because she's the assassin. And not only that, like you don't. It's funny because you don't have stuff like there's like a special sight that you can have. Let's call it like aura sight or whatever, because you can see through walls. You can see like where potential enemies may be. You can mark them like that, and you're good. Yasuke, no, you're just gonna have to go off of vibes. And Yasuke is really the missions where you need to just, oh, I gotta go in and like kick some ass. I don't have to sneak around. Use Yasuke, but those are minuscule. And maybe I missed something in the beginning of the story because I I don't see the point in having Yasuke as the other main protagonist, only because before in Assassin's Creed, what it was you're doing the obstacles, you're doing the system, cool. You're leaping into like maybe an ancestor of yours that was an assassin at one point, and you get to play through their story how they played through it. And then I think there was a point where it got different. It was just they have somebody's DNA on record, and you can still go into the DNA of someone who has assassin lineage, and you can just play through theirs to figure out what's going on. But even then, I know now is the actual. She's got the assassin's blade, all that, so she's key into the assassin lineage. But how is Yasuke? Unless I gotta still finish the game, unless somehow now and Yasuke get together and have a baby of some sorts, and then that just continues on. I don't see how Yasuke becomes a playable character in the game unless they wanted to shoehorn it in there to get more like pandering in a sense. I mean, and let me tell you something. Pander to me, okay? Pander to the black gamers every once in a while. We didn't had so many vanilla protagonists in all facets. And then when they were like, you know, we don't need vanilla protagonists, it just went straight like cartoonish or alien or something like that. It's time to switch it up. But I am enjoying the game so far. There are hard parts, but it's still a very, very solid game. And I have to get used to. I tell you what, when you do use Yasuke, he gets down. There's a button where if you press it, all you do is just kick somebody, and it's not like a boom, you're kicking them and it kind of knocks their guard off. No, they're flying. Yasuke's a Yasuke's like a giant compared to most of the Japanese people that are around him, which is kind of accurate. Okay, especially at that time, they weren't really that tall. But that was a definitely definitely a good game, good purchase. I like it. Like I said, pander to me, boy. And now let's talk let's talk anime for a bit, okay? Devil May Cry animation, anime, cartoon. After a while, the lines are starting to get blurred because essentially what anime is just Japanese cartoons, just like manga is Japanese comics. But then you're starting to get it to where Chinese people can make anime. We made anime over here, but it's like, is it? By if you're sticking by the definition, is it anime? Probably not. But if you're sticking by just like how it looks, the genre, the style that it's drawn in, it's pretty much anime. I put Castlevania up there too. I can't even lie. But overall, Devil May Cry the anime was great. I had a great time. Your boy Johnny Young Bosch, if you remember who that was, I remember him for one Ichigo. Plays Ichigo. He played, if I'm not mistaken, he played Nero in Devil May Cry 3 or 4. I'm not a Devil May Cry super duper fan, so I'm not gonna remember it off the top of the dome. But um, well, he was Black Power Ranger after they got rid of Zack, and they got the Dark Side of Power Rangers on HBO. I have yet to watch that, but hearing how some of the treatment was going on, I could see me leaving like, yo, I can't do this no more. And that the guy that he replaced, the black guy he replaced, has gone on to do some stuff since then. Like, you know, smaller roles, but roles nonetheless. And he's still like cool. He always goes to the Power Ranger stuff and does the conventions. And the fact that you can still do that, and this Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers came out in like the early '90s, and you're still able to go around and talk and do it. That's dope. Hydrate everybody. But yes, Devil May Cry was tough. You get to see Dante being Dante, being energetic, having these one-liners. Um, that rabbit face motherfucker, that's an actual good. That's a very good villain. You know what? I like my villains when they think. Sometimes it's cool, like, oh, you're a villain. What's your motivation? I just want to fuck shit up. Okay. But a lot of the times, the more interesting villains are the ones that have a plan and have like these tactics, these thoughts. Like, oh, you thought I was just gonna come straight up and tell you this? No. Or, oh, I know about your power, so I set this up instead to cause a distraction. Because you got to choose between A or B, but you're not gonna choose me, so I'm out. Stuff like that. Villain's cool. There's definitely gonna be the way that was and the way like how it ended, but the reaction I knew it was gonna get based off of just the trailer alone. There's gonna be a season two. I think it shows up. It's not gonna take that long for them to get, because I'm pretty sure they were already producing ahead of time. Like, yeah, we're gonna get season two. Netflix is probably like, listen, we're gonna give you a season two regardless. Whatever. And more than likely, Netflix probably sets up for that, just in case. Like, if it's like, nah, we're not doing season two, they probably just scrap it. But if they are doing season two, like, okay, cool, we got ahead of the game, and then they like the season two, they made like a season three, keep it going from there. But yes, definitely fire. Damn, I have a big list of anime that I'm currently watching. Blue Exorcist, to my dismay, I gotta use the big word dismay. Blue Exorcist, to my dismay, has uh the season done. The way it ended, I was looking for like one more episode because you finally got Ren just facing off with his brother, like face to face after going through all that backstory, after going through the whole entire past, and it shut off. Good cliffhanger, by the way. And Solo Leveling did the same type of cliffhanger anyway. If I didn't mention it before, yeah, Solo Leveling's done for now. Solo Leveling's gonna keep getting hype. It's gonna keep coming back. Again, that is Solo Leveling is a story where it doesn't take too much to think. You don't have to look too deep into it. Solo Leveling, it's just a uh anime about him. Capital H, capital I, capital M. New anime, new new seasons. One, Fire Force season three. Fire Force has come back after, how long has it been since that whole Adola Burst stuff? It's been a couple years. It's been like 4 years since Fire Force, and now it has come back season three. By now, the manga's already done. Manga's already done. I know about the connection it has to another anime. I don't want to really spoil it like that for y'all, but just know there's another anime that came out that is connected to it. If you recognize the art style, you recognize, even in the manga, you recognize the art style. You'll recognize the same person has drawn and written for it. The same person has connected the two stories, but how they're connected, it goes into that. We'll never have to worry about with them having to catch up to the manga to a certain point where the manga's not done, and then they got to take that break. No, they just have to animate it. But if the animation studio is busy on other projects, then it's just gonna have to wait. And that's normally what happens with. That's two reasons that an anime may take a long time to come out. Either it the source for it, the manga is not done yet, so they have to drop to a certain point, and then if they don't have fillers, then you just have to wait. Or the manga is done, but the studio also draws like a couple of other things, and then they have to pull their resources for that, and then come back to the anime. Just a heads up, just saying. Um, One Piece is back. One Piece is back with their season, still looking good, still continuing on. One Piece is one that has to it kind of has to take these breaks to give the manga some time to get ahead, because they're actually catching up. They are catching up. The manga, I think Oda said like the manga should be done by 2026, like maybe later 2026. But everybody, this story's been going on for a long time. Everybody's just waiting for dots to connect, for Emu to finally be revealed as to what they are, and then what the One Piece is. Those are the three big things. Like, what is the One Piece? You've been talking about this and since the late fuck. I think since the late 90s, since like 19 either 99 or 01. I gotta cuz I want to check that in real time, cuz one piece has Did I move my fucking camera? I probably did. That's my fault. One Piece has been out for the longest time. Oh my god. But the story is still good, so people don't mind. And I don't mind as long as the story is still good. All right, we're gonna go to my trusty site. My G. Yeah, 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 yeah. 1997. 1997 until present. That's 28 years that a you have kept a property, an intellectual property, a story, one single story. Mind you, it's a grand story too, but you've kept one story so interesting that it's been able to keep going, and you've been allowed to keep finishing it for 28 years almost. It'll probably, you know what, it'll more likely be like 30 by the time it's done. I said 2026, but it might be a little bit more. But dog, 30 years? Because even, you know what's been out a little longer than that? Dragon Ball Z. And with with Diamond's help, it kind of extended it. But otherwise, if you just left off where Super left off, it took some years back, and One Piece would be catching up. But man, because you know what? You know what's crazy? A lot of these properties that have started out maybe in like the late 90s, early 2000s, the big three are still going. You got the big one everybody knows is still going, which is Dragon Ball Z. They're always gonna try to get it, you know, going somehow. Naruto is still going by the advancement of Boruto, and I'm talking in both anime and manga. Manga specifically, because Boruto is entering its Shippuden era with Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, which is definitely fire. Bleach is still going now, because that 1,000 Year Blood War, that manga's been finished, but then they've got like the Hell arc that's going on. So besides that, the anime is still going on. Like the anime has come back and is now doing the whole 1,000 Year Blood War, and it looked good too. And the animation is fire. They do like a little separate what is it? The story is still the same, but they'll focus less on some things and more on others, where they feel like they had to change it here and there. So nothing too crazy, where it divulges from the story or the point, but he's definitely cooking. Naruto, that One Piece, and One Piece is still cooking. Just getting different animations, still going on with the manga, still going on with the anime. And if you aren't sure if he'll be able to sink the landing when it comes to his storytelling or when it comes to revealing what the One Piece is, I have the book. I had just bought the manga a couple weeks ago. It's called Wanted, and it's a couple of one shots that Oda has created, and it even shows the robots up until like something romance is what One Piece was going to be originally called. Like it's something the book's over there. I don't feel like going to get it, but just there's like six different stories in there, and you can see the elements where he might have taken from one shots that he's made and have placed them in to One Piece. Where majority of these stories have come into One Piece, but the way that he's telling the stories in these one shots, and mind you, there's one in there where he was like, "Yo, I made this when I was 17." 17, and he still kept the his art style has still been the same art style since he was 17, which is good. um but definitely the way he's been able to like set up stuff, set up the story, set up the protagonist, have them kind of likable. um that One Piece one was definitely dope. You could see the influence from Luffy, because I mean Luffy's in there. You could see the influence for Nami, and there's a story where you could see like the influence that he actually did release that in the anime form, where it was the swordsman that was like in this western town, and he's supposed to be like, um He's supposed to be Zoro's like father or grandfather or something like that. That one's in there. That one's definitely good. So yeah, that lets me know like okay, Oda's cooking. It's just how big in scale is the One Piece going to be? Excuse me, because the One Piece essentially will break the internet once the news come out. Like once the clip come out, once the news come out, people have been waiting. Like I said, like 28. We'll be waiting 30 years. Just to, in fact, just to see it in the manga, to see it in anime, that shit's probably gonna be another couple years to finish. If I'm gauging it right, but I can't wait for that. Lazarus from the same people that bought you, Cowboy Bebop. Lazarus has come out on HBO Max, and so far, I'm looking at it like, okay, you get the opening. I don't remember the opening being in the first episode. You get the opening in the second episode. It got a nice little tune to it. Nothing will ever beat Cowboy Bebop. That opening, classic. Nobody ever beat that. This one, I have to go back and listen to it again. I might, if they come out with a vinyl or something for it for like the background music, I might cop that because some of the background music is like lo-fi hip hop in a way. So I'm digging that. But for Lazarus, the whole premise of that is this guy has created this sort of like miracle drug in a sense that's like a pain reliever, like it helps you in other ways, and it's so helpful. And then he disappears, and then when he comes back like a couple years later, he's like, yo, you know what, this is a mistake, everything's a mistake, and the drug that I gave you guys was actually uh detrimental to your health. And in 30 days, everybody who ever took the drug, like everybody that's taking the drug, is gonna die unless you find me in 30 days to get the cure. So now it's like you're on a goose chase to try and find this guy. And that's where the main character and a couple of the other characters that come in, when you watch the episode, you'll see why they've come in, what their skills may be, and what their overall mission entails. So yeah, Lazarus, I can't make too much of a judgment on it. I'm giving it 5 episodes, and then I'll see whether or not it's it's worth it. I hope it is. I hope it is. And I hope it's just one season, 25 episodes. It don't seem like it need more than that. Hmm. And another one, To Be Hero X. Okay, To Be Hero X is from a Danwa, which is like Chinese manga. They call that Chinese manga. Manhwa is Korean manga. Manga is, Japanese comic books. But To Be Hero X, I'm still not clear on the premise of that. And I think another episode came out that I gotta go watch in a minute after I make this video. But I'm still not clear on it, so I can't really explain it per se. But the interesting thing is that they have it in this 3D generated style, but the 3D generated style works. Sometimes they'll go into 2D and back to 3D, but the 3D style works. And from what I've seen about this one, there have been a couple of other Chinese animations that have come out that have been fantastic. Especially there's some movie that came out that's like, oh man, it's got so much money. It's like the highest rated like animation type of movie or something. Probably because of how many people are over there, and that kind of boosts the numbers too. But China has really been stepping it up when it comes to anime, when it comes to animation, when it comes to a lot of things actually. Especially with what these tariffs are stupid. That's all I'm gonna say. These tariffs are stupid. What they've been talking about in the marketing and like what they've just exposed to people, which people should have already known, but it took them to tell them that. It was just like, yo, all these expensive brands that y'all keep searching for, and then the knockoffs that y'all may complain about, the the knockoffs, the replicas, or maybe like a shirt that kind of feels and looks the same, but it just doesn't have the maybe the Louis logo on it or the Gucci logo on it. They're like, yo, it's all made in the same stuff over here. And in fact, we make it for this price. They get it from us. And then they raise it to this price and then sell it to y'all. So essentially, y'all are dickheads for paying $200 for a shirt that for us, you can buy for like maybe $5 a shirt. And not only they started listening like, yo, you want this and this? Here, you want something that's like the bodysuit, like such and such? You can get it from here from this app. Nigga, they're on a different. They've always been different, and they've been ahead of us for a long time. It's just the American propaganda doesn't want you to know that outside of America, people are doing better than us. And for so many years, they've always done that through like infomercials, like, oh, you can donate to this place because they're doing so poor. The one thing about social media, one thing they didn't want with social media is the awakening. Okay. I'm not using the term woke because people have been misconstrued and doing all this. I'm just going to say the awakening. The awakening that people can finally get where it's like, yo, whatever America's been telling you, not everything they've said is 100% true. Which, if you don't know that by now, wake up, okay? And I don't know what to tell you. But yes, there are other countries out there that are doing way better than us in health, in nutrition, what they put in their foods, because America cuts a lot of corners when it comes to stuff. They cut a lot of corners to try and give the same output and sell the same price if they can cut corners and do things cheaper and still make the same profit. Like, dog, they're doing more harm to us, the consumer, than to help us. Which is dumb because why wouldn't you want your consumers to do better so that way they can keep buying from you? It don't make no sense to me. Big ass water jug. But yeah, China when it comes to this anime stuff, they are getting up there. They are pushing those. I don't say pushing those boundaries to a crazy part, but they definitely are up there. And I'm like, yo, they probably have a big team. They probably put the money in there like they're supposed to. And I don't know what their working conditions is because when you hear a lot about animators and especially when Japan, like some of those animation studios, they be pushing those boys to the T and not giving them enough of the money that they deserve. And mind you, it'll come out super fire, but they've had to put like maybe like 16-hour, 20 hours in doing the same thing over and over again and then getting like minimal praise for it. It's not right. I don't know how China's stuff is, but if it's because they respect their people and they put in the hard work to make sure that their animators and the artists and all that get what they need to get, we could take a lesson from them. But yeah, they're definitely on the map. They're definitely on the lookout. Will they be the new takeover? Only time will tell. Kind of looking like they're drawing that up and up though in that department. Everything else they've been on the up and up, but like I said, leave it to somebody else to not tell you. And My Hero Academia Vigilantes. This right here, okay? I'm not showing you the back because the back is kind of crazy. My Hero Vigilantes, it's a different take on the My Hero Academia world. Where if you know about it for a while, My Hero Academia, you have abilities. You can do other things in life. Like you can be a construction worker, you can be a firefighter, you can do all these other things. And when you want to use your powers like outright, like helping to do other stuff, you kind of got to have a license for it. And to be like, if anything, to be a hero, you really have to go to school for it. You have to have your abilities measured. You have to go train, and then you have to, get your hero's license. And then, depending on who you are and what you do, you'll be a hero. You'll have ratings, and then you'll be placed in the top 10, and this and that. My Hero Academia Vigilantes, just like the name says, there's always a difference between hero and vigilante. And the vigilante part is just, I'm not even gonna lie to you. a lot of heroes in the comic books, we call them like superheroes, but they're in, I want to say in legal terms, they're vigilantes. They're just, mass people that are just kind of doing their own thing. Still good, but it's just they're doing it by their own book. Like, and in vigilantes, these are people who are doing hero work, but it's unlicensed. So if you're doing unlicensed hero work, you're a vigilante, and being a vigilante is kind of a crime. It's not a crime like being a villain, but it's just like a yo, stop that. You got to be licensed in order to be a hero. And if you didn't go through the school or do what you're supposed to, then no. It's like go get a regular job with your abilities. But vigilantes, I've been looking forward to that. It's very cool to see the other side of My Hero Academia, and this takes place before the actual My Hero Academia story. And the main character, his his ability is funny because his ability, if he has 3 points of contact on any part of the surface, then he can pretty much glide. But he's got to have hands. It's looking like hands and feet. Like as long as he has like a hand and like two of his feet on surface, then he can pretty much glide over it no problem. He's able to glide up buildings too, and he's able to go at like he says he have a speed of up to like as fast as a bicycle. He can go faster than that. It's harder for him to stop without the appropriate gear. So right now it's just like, oh, I can go about as fast as, as fast as a bike. But it's still, that's what I've always liked about the My Hero Academia universe is that one, it's one power, but they differentiate it into different aspects. Where if you let's like it, if you are a fire user, you are a fire user, and you can make fire solely with your hands. You can also have the ability to fly if you know how to make like how I don't know like jet booster flames with your hands. And the funny thing is that there's also drawbacks to using your abilities. Like there's also weaknesses. Like if you do have that, you could be subject to overheating. Okay, because yeah, you can do fire power, but you can only take so much heat before you're either burning your hands or like causing serious damage. So you have to think about that. That's always been interesting about My Hero Academia. You don't see that in you don't see that a lot in DC and Marvel comics. Like they show you all the glory, all the like, oh yeah, they're super strong and this and that, and they just know how to fly because they do, and they've got a psychic ability, but they can also spit water, and they don't give like there's no repercussions to using that power unless they're just exhausted. Like it's nice to see differentiation, and it's inspired me on some of the stuff that I do as far as my writing. But I don't wanna I don't wanna go into this other one. What I do want to get into is the fact that it leads into the next topic of escapism in anime. I mean, you can have escapism in other things. If what's your way of escaping? Do you go into a book? Do you take time off and do you read a book? Do you do you play video games as your escape medium? You go and just watch your favorite movie to escape. Sometimes people try to escape the harsher way through like drugs or alcohol, but anime as an escapism, you can kind of see it with certain people that do watch anime because it is a nice break from the norm. Like anime, what the stories they're telling, majority of them cool stories. They're super innovative, inventive. Um, they think outside the box, and with how we operate in normal day to day society and reality, it's very inside the box. It's nice to watch something that's outside the box. But there are people that really do take it to heart. Like it's just they'll watch anime 24/7. Me, will I watch anime a lot? Yeah, but I do like actual shows. Uh, Even though the shows are fiction, it's still like realism in a sense, or like I've watched Shogun, which was phenomenal. Paradise has been phenomenal. Black Mirror. Black Mirror is fire, very fire. But yeah, there's I don't know, but then there's some points where the escapism into anime seems like it gets a little too crazy for some folks. Like they're legit. I've seen it before where if people don't like a certain ending, I don't know if y'all remember the Attack on Titan creator. There's a reason why most of the mangaka, which is what you call a person that makes manga, there's a reason why they cover their faces. A good chunk of them is because their life can potentially be in danger depending on how people are feeling about the story direction or how the story ends. And with how Attack on Titan ended, people didn't like that, and they were sending death threats to this guy, like serious death threats. Like, mind you, this is a fictional story about a fictional time, and the story is cool. The I What's funny is I don't have Attack on Titan in my top 10 or 20. I think I have it in my top 30. But besides that, still a great story. But yeah, when people don't like stuff, like they'll legit send these like, oh, I hope this happens to you. Like, why would you do this to this character? Bring this character back. There are people that get so into this into the story that they don't understand. Like, yo, this is fictional characters, mind you. If the story has a different way that the author is taking it, read it first, let it sink in. Probably try to figure out why they did it in that direction. And then if you don't like it, then fine, you don't like it. Maybe you can voice your opinion, but don't take it to the point where like you're sending death threats. Like now you're just getting weird, super weird. Especially with death threats, you'll get people that are obsessed with characters. Like, oh man, like this character, like I married this character and I'm all about this one. Like, yo, like come on, dog. That level of escapism is super unhealthy. And the funny saying of "go touch grass" is literally for people like that. Go touch grass, get out your mother's basement, stuff like that. That is essentially the same thing. Like, dog, you have to get in touch with reality. Like, these are fictional characters, and it's cool that you like. It's cool that you like a show, that you enjoy the creator's work, that maybe you've done some fan art or maybe you've done some fan writing, but don't take it beyond that. Don't get weird. uh you try to do what they call shipping with characters, where it's just like, oh, these characters need to be in a relationship. Like, oh, I'm gonna make it all about this, and just watch it. Whatever, just watch it, enjoy it. I know you can relax, like when a certain anime comes on, escape into it, like delve into it, and that's fine. But once you take it to an unhealthy degree, you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror and ask, like, yo, am I healthy? Like, yo, am I mentally healthy? I can't be if I'm doing the most. And I always say don't do the most, but if I'm doing the most over a fictional character created by someone not too long ago that I have no stake in, like if I'm doing the most over a character or a story, am I mentally healthy? If you're not, maybe you need to take a step away, go watch something else. Play video games for a little bit. Maybe watch a movie, read a book. Maybe you don't need to be watching anime for a bit. Take a break. It's cool to take breaks too. Some anime, maybe you want to let it build up. You got a road trip coming up. Maybe that'll be your entertainment to to pass the time by. Just don't get too wrapped up. Mm. Ooh, hydrate. I was working hard in the gym today too. So this is my second half gallon. You need that. Avatar: Legend of Korra. I don't know if I mentioned that I finished Avatar: The Last Airbender in the last episode, but yes, I finished all of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Pretty much looking into it, getting another feel of it, seeing the journey again. Avatar: The Last Airbender is always going to be a cool story. Avatar: Legend of Korra, I just finished season one. Now I'm on season two. What drew me here was the fact that you had balance amongst Korra and Aang. You had balance amongst Avatar: Last Airbender and Avatar: Legend of Korra. But then you get these people just like, oh, who's better? And then instead of just saying like, oh, like I like Aang better, people have begun to like egregiously shit on Korra for no reason, to the point where now like on TikTok there's like two main lives that'll come up where it's like Korra's done nothing wrong. Come up and come up and come up and discuss if you disagree. And people will come up there and oh, Korra did this, Korra did this, Korra did this, and when they get debunked, they're just like, nah, I just don't like her. Listen, instead of just going up there and lying, or you go on any area of any type of social media or video platform, instead of lying and trying to come up with like false ads, just say you don't like her just because you don't like her. I would respect that more, because then we can just get you out the way. Like, I don't like her just because I don't like her. I like Aang more. She, Korra in season one. First off, the Avatar setting is super different, and I like to see that. It's a different era. It's a different time. It's let me see. I'm trying to see how old Katara and the world is. It's let's say it's some like 70 years later, like 70 or 80 years later, but 70 years later. Let's say it's that amount of time. What you have in Korra's current time, you have cars and like the shit that looks like the 1940s, 50s type vehicles. So you've got those type of cars. You've got blimps. You've got radio stuff like you got gangs. Essentially, you've got actual city buildings. You've got policemen. There are more metal benders. There are more people that know how to do lightning bending. There aren't. There's airbenders, but it's Aang's kids. So Aang had Tenzin. He had three kids actually. Boomy, which is not a bender. Kar, which is a water bender, and then you have Tenzin, which is an airbender. And of course, Aang spent a lot of his time with Tenzin because he's Tenzin is essentially the last airbender after Aang passes. So again, he's the last airbender. It's just he is not the Avatar, so he doesn't have to focus on anything else except airbending. But then Tenzin has had four kids. The youngest one was regular. All right, don't got no bending. The mother couldn't be more proud. She's like, "Dog, I just want one regular child." But the three before him, the two older daughters and the son, they're airbenders. So he's teaching them. So you do have airbenders kind of coming into the fold, and of course later on, Korra, she does something with the spirit portals, and she actually brings back airbending within people. So there's more. So the world is kind of more in balance. But it's just been the Korra slander has gotten to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna rewatch this show, and it's nice to see a difference. First off, you have the gender difference. Aang was a boy, Korra's a girl. Then you have the age difference in the story. Aang started out his journey when he was 12-year-old kid doing these things, and not only that, he was a monk per se, but he was freely out there to experience the world within that year. Korra is a girl. She's also water tribe, but she was sheltered. Okay, she was sheltered in. They kept her in her southern water tribe. Ayo, instead of you going out to the world and going around and going to different vendors, they're gonna come to you and train you here. So she's been sheltered the whole time. Hasn't had too many interactions with people outside of where she's been. So not only do you have that difference, you have a personality difference where Aang was more of a I'm trying to dodge. I don't really want to fight you like that. The Jackie Chan approach. I don't want any trouble. But when trouble comes to get to him, he kind of start kicking some ass. Katara is different. I mean, not Katara. My bad. Korra is different. Korra is more of the if you want to fight, we can take it there, and we can do this thing. So she's not afraid to fight. Okay. Uh, she doesn't. Aang would listen here and there, but sometimes he did get really hot headed. Hot headed. I don't know why I said it like that. He would get hot headed, and he would lash out here and there. Even when the avatar state that he had, whenever he was like emotionally like at a high level, almost like mob psycho, then he would lash out in the avatar state. Korra would not listen as much. And there would just be it's like there's times where she actually would, and she's a teenage girl who is learning. People don't want to see that though. They want to see another Aang. Like, oh, why isn't she like Aang doing this? Why isn't she like Aang doing that? Like, yo, they've been raised completely differently. They're from different tribes. They're different genders. They're at different ages. Like, there's so many differences. And on top of that, like, she discovered her being the Avatar early. Like, she discovered it as like some 4 year old kid, like 3 or 4 year old kid, and was actually embracing it. Like, yes, I am the Avatar versus Aang, who was rejecting it. Like, oh man, why did I have to be the Avatar? So I like the differences. Like, no, I don't want you to copy and paste the same character. In fact, if you wanted to see Aang in a different era, then you would have seen it. And essentially, for us, excuse me, we're getting a movie that's going to show Aang and the gang more than likely when if it's like how like whatever age the flashbacks were, then when they're 40. Okay, when people have got kids, we get to see more about Toph and her kids because they didn't have too close of a growing up. We get to see if Sokka had kids or not. Although if Sokka did have kids, then we probably would have ran into them by now or heard of them by now, or maybe not because they really don't give anything to the story, because we've seen Toph's kids with Lin and her sister and them being metal benders, and Lin was actually the chief. Cool. We've seen Aang's kids, Aang and Katara, with her having Tenzin and Bumi, and Tenzin was a major part of the story because he's the airbending master of Korra's era. And we've even seen uh Zuko's we've seen his daughter, who is the current Fire Lord, and we've seen his grandson, who is Iroh. Well, he's named Iroh, but you've seen him and he had the same voice. We haven't seen anything as far as Sokka. We don't know if he was still with Suki. We don't know if he did have kids and they've gone to do other things in the water tribes. If so, I would imagine that they would have come up for something, or maybe they, since Suki wasn't necessarily a water tribe member, she was like Earth Bender, maybe something else. But maybe we'll get our answers. But it's been that, and it's been the fact that the new Avatar news that has come out has been talking about, oh, a great calamity has happened, and the people look at the Avatar as more as more as a destroyer than a savior, which you can kind of see the trajectory it was going anyway. Because Avatar Last Airbender, they were like, yo, we need Avatar. He's supposed to save us. We're looking at him as the ultimate savior. Then you get the Legend of Korra, and people necessarily aren't looking to, like, they're not really necessarily looking for the Avatar. It's just, society's going on, society does. And people are able to get on without such need for, like, this higher figure. They have other figures that can help out. So the trajectory looks like it was going to go in a way where it was like, okay, well, what happens when the world sees because there was already a time where they were starting to see benders as enemies. What happens when they see the ultimate bender as an enemy? Like, did Korra try to stop something? Did something happen because the avatar failed and wasn't there? They're looking to blame it on the next one because they see all the avatars, like past and present, as the same person. We don't know enough information, but people are already blaming it on Korra without getting so much of the facts. And I don't know. It was like, yo, I'm seeing these arguments online. I'm seeing like, people just slander Korra, and they never, once they get disproven, they never have anything else to say. They're just like, well, I just don't like her. So yeah, I'm enjoying this rewatch too, because it's definitely like already some of the points like, yo, Korra was Korra was a homie hopper, and she was with this one and with this one, and like, yo, no, Bolin don't know how to pick up on cues, and in his head was like, cool, I'm gonna get Korra. Korra wasn't trying to entertain that. If anything, you blame Mako, because Mako liked Korra, then ran into Asami, and then was like, well, Asami, I like you, and then while he was dating Asami, was still looking at Korra, thinking about her, dumped Asami for Korra, and then it's like it's a back and forth thing. But then Asami and Korra kind of get together, and like it ain't Korra's fault. Stop it. That's it. Just my Avatar Legend of Korra rewatch is going swimmingly. I don't even know what time I'm on right now. I'ma just keep going. That might be it. Well, I was thinking like I was going down memory lane like most people do, and I was thinking about art school. Because talking about anime and all this stuff, you know what got me into art was anime. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z was probably the first anime that I remember like drawing, and I used to draw the hair like pineapple cones or pine cones. I used to do art like that. I used to do that. I would kind of have like these alternate stories in my heads for characters, and I would draw it just random stuff. Like I would draw random stuff. I think because I like Power Rangers, I had like an alternate thing with Power Rangers at one point that I drew, and Zatch Bell was like a big thing to me, so I drew like type of my own type of Momotos, and then their masters, and then like spells. So this creative thing that I have now, I've always had it, but it was in a different medium. I used to draw and then just think about, like maybe the character comes from here. I wouldn't write about it much. I would just draw the character. And then once I got to the military, because of, you get to the military, like certain stuff happens, your brain shifts, your emotions shift. It could be physical, it could be spiritual, it could be mental. And when the shift happens, like for me throughout that journey, even though it was 3 years and some change, still enough happened to where it affected me. Even it affects me today. But because I've talked about the time where I have dreams every now and then where I'm back in, and sometimes it's a relief that I'm back in, and I'm hoping that that's the real reality. And what I was doing now, which what I'm doing now, was a dream, or I will have the dream that I'm back in, and it's like a disaster where it's like, no, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, take me back to. So it's like enough has happened for me for it to affect me like that, and then also I've lost the creative drawing spark, and I've got blank drawing books that aren't complete because I would buy these supplies, and I'm looking like, yo, I always loved to draw. I used to draw when I was little. I used to draw on the back of my homework on any space that was there. I would just draw whatever. I would always keep drawing. And now it's gotten to the point where I haven't drawn anything in the longest time possible. And it sucks because I used to really like to draw. And I thought I was always gonna keep drawing. But those books are still empty. Every time I go into the store too, I look like maybe I need a new blank art book so I can get to it and like start drawing and stuff. And it just doesn't, like, I can't bring it out of me anymore. But the cool thing about me and have my creativity is that I didn't give up on it because it shifted from doing art to doing writing. So now I'm in a whole creative writing spark. And that one has flourished to the point where now I always have like story ideas, and then I had like 16 different ideas, and then combine them down to 8, maybe expand them to 10, combine them back down, and just like these characters, because of what I've seen in anime and comic books, animated shows, it's taken a big influence, and it's driving me to want to create my own stories in a sense. And that's what I'm currently working on. I've actually got a little thing that I'm working on for something special. But all in all, like me want to do fantasy stories and my own superhero type of like mini comic book thing, and I don't like alternate like science fiction isekai. Like the more that I've seen, the more these ideas that I've seen, the more ideas I've generated. And now like with like me bouncing my ideas and getting them in structured order and using like ChatGPT to help me like not write it for me, but help me organize, use it as a Google, like, hey, what does this mean? What are all the what are the genres of this, and you know, like just different, like what style of villains does Batman have? What style of villains does this character run into? How can I incorporate that with my own thing? And I generate stuff. So this whole creative process that I have for writing has taken the place of drawing. And all I have to say, like, everyone is creative, and if you if you have that creative spark and you feel like something dies down, then maybe it's just because it might be time for a shift. Where like if you don't do anything like me, like if you don't do creative stuff when it comes to drawing, maybe you can put it towards painting. Is kind of similar, but then again it's kind of not because of how you do it. Maybe you can do painting, actual painting, or you do art, or you do sculpting, or maybe if you were doing writing, but now you want to kind of focus on drawing, like shift to that. Just don't give up on your creativity. Just switch the medium. Like always be creative, because I always believe that creativity is next to godliness. I don't know why people said cleanliness is next to godliness. Yeah, be clean. Don't be out here being dirty. Don't don't be out here being pigpen like from Charlie Brown. But yeah, creativity is definitely a gift, and I feel like it's something that everybody has. Even when you're creative with putting a house together, decorations around Christmas time or birthdays or culinary arts. You're creative with cooking. Just stay like be creative. Maybe you really know how to do TikToks or YouTube videos. Like just and if you know how to do more than one thing, do more than one thing. Okay, creativity is a big thing. And you don't need to just shoehorn yourself into just all right, I do this the most, so I'm just gonna focus on this. Like, nah, if you got other interests, just go with it, because you never know who will pick it up. You'll never know who will dial it in. Maybe somebody has an idea that you can help in. Maybe somebody can help you. Just stay creative. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I was gonna talk about my time in the military, but that's a long story. I think I'll get to that maybe in the next episode or maybe another time. But yeah, this is episode 30. Okay, thank you for rocking with your boy. Again, I don't know how long this episode has been going on, but I feel like it's long enough. Okay. As always, I'm gonna try to, as an introverted person, I'm still getting used to not being so introverted, but still taking in enough information to where I can come back to you guys and speak my mind on it. And this is a nice thing for me to look back on, have an archive, be like, okay, what was I thinking at this time? Like, how does video look at this time? Uh, Maybe there's like-minded people out there, you know, that want to chime in. Just leave a comment. I'll try and reply if it ain't nothing crazy. And maybe essentially, this is one thing about creativity too, because I take this in as creativity also. And I don't know, maybe this will lead to something else that will help me in the future. Maybe get used to being, I don't know, talking on camera with a couple of other people, or maybe I do something big. Like I don't know what the world has for me. I don't even know. No one knows about tomorrow, but we definitely work today, so that way tomorrow is a little more easier. Bar. But yeah, this has been my time. If you've watched a minute, I appreciate you. If you watched half the show, I appreciate you. If you watched the whole show, I appreciate you. I love you a lot. Even though I don't see you, I can't hear you. Maybe I'll never meet you, but I still got love for you. Like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the fancy things to help your boy get just a little bit more notoriety. All right? If you want to hear more from me, then just I don't know, just say it in the comment section. I do, like I said, I do have ideas about doing more videos as far as reviews for stuff. So that way it isn't just podcast stuff. I feel like this is more like a show, like a one man show than a podcast. But I'm still going to put it under the guise of a podcast. But I'm going to keep rocking as long as you guys keep rocking with me. Even if it's only 10 people that watch, 20 people that watch. The big thing I seen, I think the most was like 35 people that watched the video. Trying to aim for higher. But thank you. I will see you next time. As always, I am the captain, the main character, Fly Guy Kai. I'm on this. I'm not on Twitter X anymore because it's just gotten ridiculous. I am on Instagram is the same thing. I am on TikTok, definitely has the same thing, talking about whatever shows that I'm watching. As if you need more of me. But until then, peace out. Good luck. Remember the 5 things that I always give you: hydrate, eat better, mind your business, don't do the most, and get to getting. All right? I will see you later.